Hey guys, welcome to your collective message from Molly the Starkid or Starkidignited. This collective message is timeless, so whenever you're called to watch this video is when it's going to resonate for you. We are currently in Pisces season 2023. We're in the middle of a Pisces new moon. We have a lot of Aries energy that's been activated. So when we get a lot of Pisces Aries energy, it's that confused, disorientated, misty kind of energy with a fire in it, where we want to just like blow through all this confusion and get something done. So what I was feeling in the collective energy was a very frustrated and confused energy. Makes sense with the astrology. Almost running out of time feeling for people. It's hard because the Aries energy wants to go, whereas the Pisces energy wants, it calls for stillness. It calls for release, relaxation, forgiveness, essentially giving us the answer that while we have all these dreams and ambitions and things that we want to go after, there is still some karmic wrapping up that needs to be done before we start the energy off in the astrological new year, which is in Aries season, so at the end of March. So with that in mind, we have opportunities and invitations right now to find answers within rather than seek them out from other people. It's more about what we value, what we find within ourselves that makes us feel worthy, that is the energy we're needing to tap into at this time. So I'll leave it at that for our energy check-in, and I will pull some cards. Okay. So angels of love, light, and healing, please connect me to my highest self, to the divine, to Sananda, Yeshua, and any further angels of love, light, and healing that wish to assist in this collective message. We ask that the most important energies, issues, and topics come up that will be the most helpful and serve people in a practical way, and that will also serve as guidance to assist in this time. So what is the current energy of the collective? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we've got a lot of like mental conflict. There's a lot of racing thoughts, things that are wanting to be birthed forward, especially in the physical. So with the Four of Pentacles, we have a holding on almost of what we physically have. Let's see what the challenge is. Okay. Yes, okay, the King of Pentacles. Right, yeah, okay, cool. So what I can see is that as a collective, we've got some really big dreams. We want to be manifesting things that will create generational wealth. We want something that will last. And with the Prince of Swords, we're in a position where we're trying to command our mind to build these things and to go after these foundations that we can see now. However, the challenge is to King of Pentacles, nothing is grown that will last quickly. Anything that comes up quickly will come down quickly. The challenge right now is to be patient, to diligently work at something. The rushed energy will only lead to heartache. So yeah, let's see, what was the energy leading up to this? What has caused this newfound spark of energy? We're not taking all of those. So yeah, let's have a look. Yes, okay. So in the past, let me just see. Okay, so in the past, it looks like there's been a mastery of owning our own truth. We have the Princess of Cups coming through here, and owning our own emotions. So the ability to set forth on a new emotional beginning has been mastered. There's been an acceptance of this. And we can see that that has come through stillness. That has come through because we've been willing to listen to the more subtle messages that come through. There's moon energy here. So what I can see is through accepting that we don't have the answers and that we're willing to wait and be patient, a King of Cups energy is shown up, which is showing emotional mastery. The ability to, he doesn't need anything fancy. Wants to like love and care and nurture for those around him, and he actually is a master of emotion, so knows when to give it, when to hold it back. And what we can see here as well is that it's actually created a tempered effect where instead of feeling like we need to, as the current energy is, rush into things, in the past energy there's been a mastery of just sitting and waiting, of being emotionally ready, and having that emotional mastery to know that like we can quiet our own fears, we can sit in trust and love, and we can allow our energy to be taken where it needs to be. When we have temperance, it's almost like a tempering, a balancing that leads to incredible soul healing. Okay, so it makes sense then that like with this emotional transformation, we are now in a space where we are ready to conquer the mind and use it for its highest purpose in building something in the physical. That's going to lead to a celebration, a success, a feeling of like total completion and celebration. So let's see, what is the next steps for the collective with this King of Pentacles as the challenge? What is the upcoming steps? Excellent. So we have a planning energy. So rather than needing to go out and go do something as the next step, it's more about allowing the energy to sit in you, to overtake your heart, to grow the seeds of things that you truly want, and to envision the golden path ahead, to really allow ourselves to imagine and create from a place of passion rather than from a place of realism. Now, what is the conscious energy that the collective are working towards at the moment? Okay. Okay, so in the conscious mind, I can see that there is a reluctance to move forward on our emotions, to be emotionally open. Obviously, this can be from a place of pain in the past where we've really put our heart on the line, and we were taught through experience that that's not safe to do. And in the conscious mind of where we are right now, that topic is coming up, where we know that we need to be more emotionally vulnerable and open and have a bit more movement in the emotion, which means not holding on to things, allowing others to know how we feel, why we feel it, and making space for emotional communication. So remember, our emotions aren't always logical. They're not always perfect. They're not always exactly how we'd like them to be, but they are necessary, and they do. Our heart is what helps us point us in the right direction. So if we're holding in all our emotions and resisting sharing them, we're getting in our own way, and we're actually blocking our clear path, like the way that we know our soul knows we need to go. So it's something that on a collective level we all need to address a little bit. Interesting, because we have that Pisces energy. So Pisces energy is a dissolving effect. It's not going to, where like potentially in previous signs and things like that, there was more of a wall up. Like Pisces energy will dissolve that. There's no option. It will just bring it down and allow us to see the more truthful, open picture as we welcome in forgiveness. And we can see that with judgment and justice. So there is a really big feeling for us that we're conscious of how much we're judging ourselves. We're potentially conscious of the ways that we, the judgment card always reminds me of like weighing that heart with a feather. And it's how we judge ourselves, and the ways that we kind of bend and twist ourselves on the inside, saying like, no, this isn't right. We shouldn't have done this. We shouldn't have done that. With justice here, it looks like, and then we have like the brain and heart being wait up. So yeah, it looks like we're really being challenged to kind of overcome those judgments of ourselves, of our emotions, of where we aren't able to be emotionally open, and come to a more just place where we're able to reciprocate and be in that like give and take energy while still holding our power. Being emotionally open does not make us weak. It actually makes us incredibly strong. But most people, we don't understand that, because like when we're emotionally open, we're seeking to get something, and then when we don't get that thing, it causes a closing down then and a resistance. Whereas to be emotionally open and truly powerful with that King of Cups that we've learned in the past is that like sharing our emotions is our strength, but it doesn't mean that sharing them will get us an outcome. We need to just share from a place of egoless love, that we trust that the people in our lives have the ability and versatility, I guess, to be able to take on our emotions and know that they don't have to fix them, but that we can share from a place of honesty and integrity. And this actually allows us to judge ourselves less, because when we can share from a truly heartfelt place and receive love and care from someone else, that is very empowering. We learn that, okay, our emotions are useful, they're strong, and they actually give us the ability to not judge others more, because when we feel forgiven and non-judged ourselves, then we're able to give that energy out more easily to others. Okay. We can also see there's major life cycles happening right now with the Judgment and Justice card. So if big things are shifting in your life, try to be a little bit gentle with yourself. Understand that if your emotions are feeling a bit upside down, that is part of the process right now, to not judge yourself. Did I drop any more cards? Okay. And so then what we see in the subconscious, so what's happening in the more unknown realms, we can see the Princess of Pentacles and Two of Wands reversed. So starting out wanting to grow something new, starting to use our energy in a more practical way to manifest the things that we truly desire. That is what is on our that is what our soul is truly desiring through the outward circumstance of what is happening right now. But we also see the Two of Wands, so another planning energy, but in reverse. So feeling like our passions aren't balanced, we don't have enough time, again, like yes, sorry. So, okay, that may apply to some people, but it also may apply in the opposite way, where we actually feel like we have our plan set, we know what we want, we're ready to grow it, and that is also creating a bit of that fast-moving energy of wanting to take off. However, I can see with the earth element, like an earth sign knows that when we plant a seed, it doesn't grow overnight. Despite the outer circumstances of what's happening, we need to trust that that seed has everything it needs where we planted it to grow into full fruition and success. But this will not happen if we are constantly trying to rush the process, unearth the seed, check if it's growing. There needs to be a bit of patience, trust, and love that will really help nurture us during this time period. Reminding ourselves that things are all happening on the right timeline, in the right time. We're in Pisces season, as I've said. So allowing all that creative energy, all that artistry, all that inspiration to flood through and to grow us, but not needing to push it out and do something with it yet. It's more about a cultivating, attracting, pulling in our resources, pulling in what we truly need before we need to make the next move. Okay, so what is the higher self advice for the collective at this time? Yes. Okay. Is there any other? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so we have the Eight of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, and King of Swords. So our higher self is encouraging us that this is something that we need to create and grow alone. With the Eight of Pentacles, there isn't a lot of outside help. There's incredible universal support and help, and we can call in all the things that we need. However, it does take a lot of effort, diligence, patience, and work to grow something in the Eight of Pentacles. It's something that we've put in a lot of time and effort for. So this is not wasted. This is exactly where it needs to be. But our higher self is calling our attention to this Nine of Swords. So you can see that she's curled over in frustration. There's lots of like twigs and sharp and stressful scenery around her. So what we can see for that is there is a lot of stress, a lot of mind games, a lot of anxiety that is coming through, and our higher self wants us to address that in a King of Swords manner, which means being the master of our mind, knowing when to say enough. Like, I'm not thinking about this anymore. Of course, the fear is valid, but it doesn't need to exist in my reality, because what I'm growing is something the world has never seen before. It's something that I'm calling in from the universe and getting universal support for, which also means that I need to have a King of Swords energy about myself. When you're creating something truly magical and beautiful, you must have boundaries. You must know when to give and when to cut, when to stop, when to not allow someone access to your energy. And this may be what's causing the Nine of Swords is too many outside influences, too many opinions, too many, societal expectations trying to drag us back out of this beautiful creative energy. Okay, so what are the outside influences that we cannot control at this time but are having an effect on the situation? Awesome. So it's the Two of Swords. So collectively, we are being asked to choose what path is truly right for us. In the Two of Swords, it's often where we're not able to see with our physical eyes. We can't actually tell what's coming next, but we're needing to have trust and faith and to really feel into our heart what the correct path is, and knowing that we have everything we need to follow that path and to get us where we're going. There's a lot of gold at the end of the path. So you may be feeling like your back's a bit against a wall. You're having to make decisions. But this is for higher purpose. There isn't something about this that you can control. There isn't like some easier way out or something that we've done wrong. Like, this is something that we are all facing. Do you want to go left or do you want to go right? Are we doing things for the greater good? Are we being egoless? Are we trying to actually create things from a place that will help everybody? Or is it something that's more self-serving? The reason I say this is because we have Pluto going into Aquarius this year. Same with Saturn going into Pisces. What that means is that Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. It's an effect, it's a feeling of the train is on the tracks and it's going the way that's like tried and true. So while things have maybe felt more harsh, slow, like we're needing to work hard, stick to the rules, that energy is leaving and it will not be coming back. Pluto will not be in Capricorn again in our entire lives. So when Pluto goes into Aquarius, we are all collectively responsible for where we're going. We all have a role to play in where, in the future that we're manifesting and creating. Every single person's choices and effects play out in the collective energy. So we are being asked as a collective to think deeply about the ideas and beliefs that we have and use that to choose a path that is the most aligned for us. Now, when I pulled those cards, I had lots of cards pop out. I'm going to put them back. We will see if they come out again. So now let's look at the hopes and fears. So what are the hopes and fears in this situation? Why are we feeling like, what are we hoping to get out of mastering this energy? What are the fears? Cool. Okay, so we have the Four of Cups. So the hope and the fear is emotional stability, an emotional foundation that we can use to the best of our ability. Now, in the Four of Cups, we can see that they're despairing because, well, in this case, there are all the cups are spilt over. So we can see a lot of black in the emotions. So a lot of disappointment, a lot of heartache. And so maybe the fear as well is that to emotionally open up, we will be left out by ourselves. We will be not received. Someone won't understand us. Because we can see as well. Yeah. There's been a resistance to listen to our intuition. It potentially is because of these fears that, hey, I had my heart out once and it really hurt and I don't know if I can do that again. And our intuition has been talking to us. It's been trying to get us to break through this threshold, to stop holding ourselves back. And the way that we do this is the Four of Swords. There needs to be some rest for the mind. It needs to be given its time to just relax, to seep into the energies of right now and not feel like it needs to do anything. Fours are a foundational energy. There is a foundation there that something is set. So we don't need to make a move straight away, but we do need to understand the elements, I guess, that have created that foundation for us. So in the Four of Swords, we can see it's a very meditative energy, a very like coming home to what's true to us. And when we see that, we get Ace of Swords. So an epiphany, something new will spark, something's going to happen where it's like, okay, now I know what to do. And it comes through being emotionally open with ourselves and being able to just sit and allow the emotions to talk to us, to come through and tell us where we need to go. Because when we do sit with our thoughts and allow them to rest, we get that insight, that epiphany, that moment of truth, which leads to, in this deck, the alien, which is the Hermit. So it's about finding that universal truth, that inner light inside ourselves. The Hermit doesn't stay around people to find answers. He journeys by himself. He will leave like the town or the people and like go up a mountain to sit and be with all the energies and to really come to a conclusion about what they mean for them. And then once the Hermit has this enlightenment, we often see the Hermit card with the lantern and the universal light inside it. He then comes down from the mountain and is able to share that universal light with others. But this only comes through the mastery of the mind and the mastery of the self first. We cannot teach something to others that we haven't intimately learned ourselves. Okay, and then let's see what the outcome is. So if we follow this advice, if we diligently work with ourselves, we overcome the fears of the mind, and we are able to make decisions on what path is aligned for us, what is the outcome that is coming in at this time, Spirit? Angels of love, light, and healing. What is the outcome for the collective? Excellent. Excellent. Is there any further outcome cards for the collective? Cool. Awesome. Okay, cool. So the first two outcome cards, they're a little harsh. We can see there's a bit more work to do. So with the Eight of Swords and the Three of Swords, okay. We're freeing ourselves from somewhere where we previously felt mentally trapped. And it has to do with heartache, what I was kind of intuitively getting at throughout the whole reading. The Three of Swords often shows three swords that we've placed in our heart, which are beliefs about love, about the love that we deserve, relationships, all these things. So the Three of Swords can often come up when we've had a heartbreak or we've had some kind of emotional disappointment. But when we look at the Three of Swords and understand them, the only person that can put a sword in your heart is you. So when we give other people the power to hurt us, or the power to just even be close to us, and then we interpret their actions as something that's painful, as something that's happened before. That's how the swords get in that heart. The way that we get them out is we need to figure out, what are these 3 untrue beliefs that I harbor about love or about myself that I can actually tend to, that I can remove now, and from this higher perspective tell myself, like, why, yes, like there was maybe evidence in the past of like, when I gave unconditional love, it was used and abused, and that made me feel like I will always be used and abused. The more that I give unconditional love, that is the energy it calls in. While that may have been true in the past, maybe someone didn't know how to properly appreciate the love that we were given. It does not make it true forever, and it does not make it true for every other person that we meet. It is true for that person. And in that way, we can then remove that sword and kind of give ourselves love. Like, no, while they weren't able to treat us right, I, from this higher perspective, can tell myself, you were in the right. You did everything that you were supposed to do. You unconditionally love them. And we do not need to keep harming ourselves with the hurt that they caused. That is ended now. Again, with that 8 of Swords, releasing ourselves from these confines, from this feeling of being entirely trapped and anchored in with all this mental fear, anxiety, overthinking, all these kinds of energies. And what it actually leads to is a very beautiful coupling. We can see the male energy is showing up as the Hierophant. So a complete spiritual guru, someone who understands that they are their own connection to the divine, and they're actually able to give of that universal wisdom from a place of stability and strength. The Hierophant represents Taurus, and it also can represent marriage. It can represent like governments, things like that. And it can also show that where we're needing to kind of deviate, rather than following a source of authority, becoming that authority source ourselves. And the feminine energy we can see is showing up as the Empress. The Empress does not worry. The Empress does not fret. She sits on her throne as the flowers bloom, and everything she needs is called and attracted to her. I would say same with the Hierophant. He's very he doesn't need to get off his throne. He knows, he has faith and trust in the universe that the things that he was told are coming, and all he needs to do is be ready and be willing and stay in his power to get them. Okay, so that is our tarot portion of the collective reading. I can see that there are a lot of big changes happening on a collective level for all of us, and there is a lot of stress and anxiety, especially in the mental realm, coming through. But as I said in previous readings, just remember that the mind is a poor master. It is our conscious higher selves that needs to be directing the mind. The mind can think of many things very quickly. I think we have don't quote me on this, 3,000 thoughts a minute or something like that, but consciously it's about 100. So just know that when our mind is set on the course of our higher selves, all that frivolous, sparky mental energy is then channeled into a direct line. Whereas when we do not have a goal, a set path, something that we've spiritually or on an inner level decided on and we're focused on, then that mind energy can start making up all kinds of stories and things as to why something won't work, which way we should be going, ripping us in all different directions. It is the heart that centers us down, that reminds us that we're here and now, that there's nothing else we can do than be present in the moment. And we obviously using that mental energy rather on freaking out and thinking of the worst possible outcome, to actually think about what our heart, green, truly desires. And with all that yellow, we have the power to go out and get it. So knowing that you're completely loved, held, that you have the power to do what you want. Imagine for a second, money's no object, time is no object, age is no object. What would we do? What kind of universe, what kind of world reality are we calling in? What kind of opportunities do we want to see? Dream big about those things, because with this Pisces energy, there is no boundary. And when we're tapped in spiritually, it can give us a lot of incredibly focused imagination, visualization, dreaming of things that we can't yet see but that we know we can call in. Whereas when it doesn't have those boundaries, Pisces energy can just feel lost and confused. It can feel like, you know, we've had 15 inspired ideas at once and we're not able to put them all into action, and so now I just feel hopeless and I can't do any of it. That's how Pisces energy can kind of feel. So make sure that we're grounding at this time, connecting to the earth, reminding ourselves that although we are spiritual souls who are able to manifest and have things instantly, we are bound to our earthly bodies. And so we need to respect the cycles of time that we are in and take one step at a time, and know that if we truly desire something and it's in our heart and it feels good, that it's coming, and that rushing there only speeds up the enjoyment of the journey. And taking things one step at a time and juicily enjoying every little bit of it is what actually gives us the power to create even bigger, to create things that we couldn't even see 5 steps back. So we don't want to rush. We don't want to run through this. It's incredibly beautiful and amazing, the things that we are starting to see as possibilities, but just don't allow some of this more masculine flighty energy to get in the way of your manifestation and to pull you off track, trying to convince you that you need to go faster. Anything that we try and do quickly in Pisces season will just dissolve. It doesn't really work. It wants us to sit and release, to relax, to understand the things that we're holding onto that don't need to be held onto any longer, and just let them go. And as we let go, we create even bigger space. All that fire and energy we feel inside has more room to move through our whole being and create things that are even bigger. But when we try and create from this place where half of our energy is stuck and balled up and frustrated and tense, we're just going to feel like we're like splattering out, all like confused and disorganized and ugly, and then there's just more mess to clean up. We want to really hone that energy, allow things to release that aren't meant to be there, and allow spirit, the divine, our higher selves, allow some space for them to come in and move us to where we truly want to go. Because sometimes our ego wants something that our higher selves know is not good for us, or the way that we're trying to plan it out is not going to serve our highest and best, and it will stop that. And that can be incredibly frustrating, because if you have a plan and you know how something's going to go, and the 5th step in your 10-step plan flicks you off course and you're completely somewhere new, that's devastating. Like, that's quite hard to deal with. So we're on like step 2 now, and spirit is trying to just calm us down, allow us to see and appreciate the next step, and not try and be 5 steps ahead of it at this time. Okay, let's get some advice. So I got some new Archangel Michael cards, so we're going to call on the angels today for our collective messaging. I just saw 333. I love it. So, so what I wanted to do, I'm going to do a pick a card. So think of a number between 1 and 3. First number that comes to your head, 1, 2, or 3. I will now set out 3 piles, and you can listen to all of them if you think they're all related to you, but otherwise choose one number for a more specific message. So we got 1 for 1. For pile 2. And we'll get 1 card for pile 3, please. Excellent. Spirit, what is some advice for pile 1? What is the advice for pile 2? Excellent. And what is the advice for pile 3? Thank you. Awesome. Angels of love, light, and healing. What advice can you please give to pile 1? Thank you. What advice can you please give to pile 2? Thank you. And what advice do you have? What advice do you have for pile 3? Excellent. Okay, guys, so take a big breath in, hold it, release any tension, any doubt, and feel into your heart what pile is most calling to you. And then I will put timestamps below so you can jump ahead to it. See you soon. All right. So pile 1, your collective angelic guidance is, the first card we have is you are protected. You are safe within my bubble of light and you can proceed with confidence. Okay, let's get some more. So we then have, wow, victory and leadership and teaching and learning. So Archangel Zadkiel, keep an open mind and learn new ideas. Then teach these ideas to others. Okay, so pile 1, you're being called on a soul level to step into a leadership role, to share your victory with others, to not just keep all the like beautiful discoveries and epiphanies that you've made recently inside yourself and actually go out and share them with other people. Teach them to others. Give people, it's like instead of catching fish for people, teaching them how to catch fish, teaching others the ways that they can free themselves from the confines of this world and be able to live in a more free space. And also to be able to actually lead people out of servitude, lead them out of places where they feel stuck. And excuse me, not able to do something on their own. You're being called at this time to really step up, to shine your light a bit brighter, give that signal out so that the people who need to find you can actually find you. And know that as you do this, you are incredibly protected. Your spirit team will not allow anyone to get in the way of what this mission is. Whether you run it, walk it, whatever pace you go, you are protected by Archangel Michael. He's surrounded you with a bubble. And anytime that you're in this space trying to achieve these things, if you don't feel protected, just ask, say, Archangel Michael, please surround me with your love light, healing and protection. Thank you for protecting me. And thank you for giving me insight on the next steps toward my highest and best path. And he will show up for you and give you information on how best to proceed. Now, let's have a look what the message is for this victory. So with victory, we have, you have won, congratulations. It wasn't so bad after all, was it? Very little effort for such a great reward. So something awesome may have happened to you in the near recent past or near future. Things don't always have to be so hard in your life. Sometimes everything just falls into place, and like magic, you get exactly what you want, no hassles and no fuss. Now stop doubting your luck and enjoy what you have. You keep expecting there has been a mistake, or you will wake from a dream and it will be taken from you. Just savor the moment, it's yours to keep. Remember these wonderful feelings of joy and happiness that mark this occasion. There is also a message heading your way that will enhance your feeling of happiness. So pay attention to what people are saying around you. Pay attention to messages that you might be getting from unlikely sources. Someone doesn't need to be a spiritual guru to give you a spiritual message. Sometimes someone that you're hanging out with will just randomly say something and it's an answer to something that you've been praying for or asking. So keep your ears open to what's happening around you and be present. We also have for leadership, there is someone around you that is representing themselves as an authority. This person does not lead by example and is always filled with excuses as to why they are unable to act honorably in certain situations. Your intuition of late has been telling you this person is not honorable, yet you have struggled to have your own opinion of them because of their ability to charm and fool others around you. Once you stand up and walk away from this disruptive influence, others will follow quickly behind you and support your actions. This situation will give you the confidence in the future to look closer at people who pretend to represent themselves as something they are not, and will in turn alleviate much confusion and stress in your life. So again, yeah, like if there is someone in this energy that is deceiving others around them, you can see through them. This is also why you're the only one able to really perceive this, because you're being asked to step up as a leader. Whatever that means for you, I will often think of what would have been most helpful for me in this situation, and then leading by that example, but also trying to take into account the viewpoints and needs of others, because obviously we're bound by our own experience. And just know that if anything deceptive is happening around you, that again, you are protected, and this is a teaching and learning moment for you. So pay attention, because things that you learn now will serve you in the future. Okay, thanks pile 1. We're off to pile 2. Okay, hey pile 2, how are you going? So we are going to get your angelic message cards. So the first one that we have is trust the guidance you're receiving. Archangel Uriel has blessed you with a brilliant epiphany. What do we say? I am also present to clear away your worries so you can trust your divine guidance. So again, clearing away that mental confusion and chatter, and trusting the vision, the feelings, the intuition that you're getting for the path that you wish to proceed on. The next card we have is creativity. So you may be being called to be more in your creative energy. You may have written yourself off doing something that doesn't feed your soul. And at this time, you're getting very strong guidance. Very strong guidance as to the true path of what it is you really want. And it is calling on you to birth something into the reality. Let's see what advice we have for creativity. Yeah, so much to do, so little time. When you create things, be it art, stories, songs, or whatever your passion is, you are closest to yourself. When you create, the rest of the world disappears, and you are left with your mind and creative thoughts. When the creative juices flow, you find yourself in a meditative state where problems are solved and messages from your subconscious are easily received. You haven't been very creative of late, and it's time to get back to that which inspires you. Even in your very busy day, find the time to get back to doing what you feel is meaningful and creative. You will find that the frustration you've been feeling of late will begin to disappear. Even your loved ones will notice the difference in you. That's very interesting as well, because with that Pisces energy, it's incredibly creative, incredibly artistic, intuitive. Again, it dissolves boundaries. So things that our society, ourselves have said, no, that's too much. Pisces doesn't care. It's going to just dissolve and welcome in all possibilities. And this can be an incredibly creative energy if we're willing to sit with it and allow it to flow through us. So getting into a space where you're creating something, and I would even challenge not creating for anything. Try and create something just for the pure joy of creating, of what can I make with my hands, what can I dream up that I can then bring into the physical and have something to reflect back to me, my beautiful creativity and love. I think that's going to really put you in a space of inner trust as well, and give you more of that confidence to carve out a creative space, whether that's in work, play, home, whatever it is. Yeah, no. Yeah, and just to trust more what you are bringing in, even if it doesn't make complete sense right now, knowing that your higher self knows the pieces and the blocks and all the resources you'll need to build that final manifestation. And so right now, create from the heart, because whatever is coming through is likely going to be something that actually serves your path later on, whether you can see it now or not. We also have, as your last angelic messenger card, divine order. And so again, with those scales, so potentially that that balancing of the heart and mind, of what we truly want and what's logical, of which way to go is something that's especially strong for this pile, for pile 2. And Archangel Raguel has a message for you, and he says, everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order. So yeah, I would say, like, if you are feeling that tense, anxious energy, to give yourself a creative task to do and sit down and do it and enjoy it. Be scheduled about it. If you're someone that tries to be in creative energy and can't really sit down with it, schedule a time out, create a, what is the word? A project. You know, like, for example, even if it's something small where you're like, okay, I like painting. Whenever I sit down to paint, I can't think of something, or I just feel frustrated, I need to do more. Give yourself something, like choose something in your backyard and you're like, okay, we're painting this. I have from this time to this time to paint this. I don't care how it comes out. I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm going to let anything that wants to come through me come through me. Maybe you set out to draw a tree and you end up drawing a house. Like, it doesn't matter, but allowing yourself to be in that energy, to see what wants to be birthed through and seeing the messages that are reflected back to you from your subconscious. Okay, awesome. So pile 2, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, and jump over to pile 3. Okay. Hello, pile 3. How are you going? We have some angelic messages for you as well. So the first thing your angels would like you to be aware of is take control of your thoughts. I love when I'm right. So it says, your thoughts are creating your reality. You have faith and stay focused on the outcome that you truly desire. Be conscious of your words. Don't say things like, oh, this bad thing's going to happen to me. Because yes, it's going to happen to you now. You've just spelt it. You've you've just created a spell to call in that reality for yourself. So if you do that, don't be hard on yourself. Just say, cancel, clear, delete. No, thank you. What I would actually like is the opposite of that. So if you're saying like, oh, this bad thing's going to happen to me, it's like, cancel, clear, delete. I know that my true worth is going to shine through this obstacle, and any issue or challenge that comes from it will actually be transformed into an opportunity for me. And through this faith that I can control my reality, and call in the things that I need, I know that I can, master my thoughts and allow, I just lost my train of thought. Yes, okay, wait, let's see what other card you have. So, okay. Yeah, cool. So we have take control of your thoughts, and then we also have trust in divine power. So another thing with take control of your thoughts is you are having very spiritual ideas, manifestations, creative inspiration coming through you with this violet light. It's our third eye. So being able to see past what the physical eyes can see, and really feel into our power of what we're calling in. But we then have trust in divine purpose. So what this tells me is that there is definitely some doubt and questioning for the bigger things that we're picturing. But what the divine is trying to tell you is this experience has divine meaning and healing will come. Know that you are on a path of growth. Exactly. So so if there are past experiences that are really trying to take over the mind, trying to call you into like, you're an idiot, you can't believe what's happening, what about all these things that happened in the past? No, take control of your thoughts. Be that captain and say, like, yes, maybe the seas that we just came through were really rough, but I actually know where I'm going now. I'm following my soul's highest map, and the waters are calmer this way, and I trust that. And I trust in my divine purpose, that life isn't meant to be some like pushing shit uphill constantly cycle. It's actually a beautiful opportunity for me to learn and grow and evolve as a soul. And I have divine purpose here. There's a reason that I'm down here, and not everything is meant to be this hard. Not everything is meant to be this stressful. And the more that I control my mind and my thoughts, and I stop creating 50% of things that I want, 50% of things I don't want, I take more control. We can get those numbers up to 80%, where we're calling in and creating 80% things that we truly want and desire. And maybe there's still 20% of like, we can't control everything. There's always going to be mishaps and things that come. But we've now put more of our energy to the empowered side. So we're actually able to deal with these challenges a lot more gracefully than if we were in our mind thinking like, oh, woe is me and life is so hard and everything's shit. And then something bad happens and we're like, oh yes, of course, I was waiting for that. Like, no, that's not what we're calling in anymore. We're creating from a place of trust, of love for self and others, of manifesting a reality that we cannot see yet, but we know is possible. And trusting that you have a divine purpose at getting us all there, just as much as me, just as much as anyone else. So don't sell yourself short. Okay. All right. So the next card we have is Earth Sun. He's very cute. I will look up the meaning to that. But another Archangel Michael message, remember who you are. This is a soul remembering. Remember you chose to come down here. Remember what it felt like as a soul to be standing on the edge before you jumped down into the physical. And you laid out the challenges of your life. You laid out the opportunities. You laid breadcrumbs for your soul to remember why it's here and who you are and what you're here to do. Don't let this world convince you that you're some small, insignificant little being that has no effect on what's happening around you, because anything you do creates a ripple out into the collective, good or bad. And Archangel Michael says, you are a powerful, loving, and creative child of God, or the universe, if you don't believe in God. You are very loved. Spirit is not going to let you fall. And the more that you know who you truly are and you stand in that power and you believe and you start taking action from that place, life gets to meet you halfway. But if you sell yourself short, it's very hard for your angels to come in and boost you up, because you're doing something that is not in your soul's highest and best. You're trying to say like, this is all I can do. And your higher self knows, hell no, they can do way more than that. But if you're closing yourself off to those opportunities and keeping yourself safe, it's very hard for your higher self to push you out of that. The more that we close down and try and create boundaries and structures to keep ourselves safe when we know it's not right, the universe actually gets to rip it all down, essentially. Like, if we are building something that is not in our highest and best, the universe, God, angels, they have no problem ripping it down. And our physical self might be crying and screaming, being like, why? Like, I spent so much time building that, like I need that. But your soul does not care what your ego self wants or needs. It cares about why you came here. It doesn't want you to come to earth and have to recreate these cycles in a harsher, more challenging environment. It wants you to understand and remember and be able to, instead of fight through something, flow over it. Allowing yourself to kind of be filled with that universal energy and to see where, I often think of life as like snakes and ladders, and like where the snake is and where the ladder is. Because sometimes our ego mind sees something and is like, yes, oh, such a quick way to get something. And it's a snake and it just takes us back to square one. Whereas our higher self might present us with a ladder that seems like, no, I can't do that. I'll have to stretch so much further than like what I have been doing. I don't know if I have the right stuff, but if we actually did that, we skip 5 or 10 like little squares we didn't need to learn, where we didn't need to learn those lessons so harshly, so slowly. Our higher self's like, no, you've got it. Just do this and we can take you up here. So keep that in mind and really meditate on who you are. Who do you think you are? Why did you come here? And not just the physical sense of like, what's safe? What does my family want? Like, no, who you are is individual to you and your soul mission. The things that light you up inside are the reasons that you're here. You are meant to grow and evolve through those things. Yeah, I'll calm down now. But yes, very true. So, the Earth Sun is the guardian responsible for nurturing and caring for the environment, the animals, and the plants. Much like an elemental or the fairy folk, he takes his role seriously but is high-spirited, always looking to spread his love and laughter with the world. So you may be feeling called to be a protector of animals, of this earth, of pretty much any way that we nurture and protect things. We are creating and fostering an environment of endurance, of something that will last. Nothing can grow if it's not loved and nurtured. So you may be being called to really put action behind the things that you want to love and you want to nurture. So we have, you are confident and carefree and not limited by your fears. Exactly. This is a great trait to have, as it gives you the courage to move forward to face any challenges that lay in front of you. You have little time for those who try to limit your beliefs or dampen your spirits. In fact, you feel only pity for those who restrict themselves because of their fears. These are not people who you choose to surround yourself with. However, these same people are drawn to you because of your endlessly cheerful attitude and positive outlook in life. For some reason, you're a little resistant in moving forward, but have no fear. There are no downsides to the decision you need to make right now. Whichever direction you decide to go, it will have a good outcome. You have a deep faith and belief in yourself that will continue to hold you in good stead once again. Your confidence and luck will always land you on your feet. Exactly. So really having trust in where you're going and what you're doing. So thank you so much, Part 3. I hope that was helpful. Alrighty guys, so that was our collective message for February 2023. It is for March 2023, it's March 1st. Remember, it is timeless, so anytime that you find this reading is when it will resonate for you. So you might not find this for a few months or years, that's fine. Whenever you're called to watch this video, there will be a message for you in it. I will pull one last card now of advice from our higher selves about the more spiritual aspect of what we're all going through right now. Okay. All right. Cool. So the first card we have is Warrior Woman. Have you answered your deepest calling? Remember, guys, like, our biggest fears aren't usually failing. Our biggest fears are not going for the things we truly desire. Like, it's much better to go for something that you want and fall on your face a couple times now than it is to get to like 60, 70, 80 and realize that we've never even given ourselves the time to go after what we truly want, what our deepest calling is. We've just been satisfying the wants and needs of others. And then we get to the end of the road and we're like, well, why am I here? What is this? What was this all about? And we can't answer that because we've never even allowed ourselves to explore those questions. We've just done what we're told. So this time is a massive time to really acknowledge, what do you truly want when there's no boundaries on you? Where does your heart go? And to not overthink it, to not frighten yourself out of the path ahead, but to realize that if I sit and ground and allow this energy to move through me and lead me somewhere, I might not know where I'm going. I might not have all the steps laid out, but I can see the next step. And the next step makes me hungry. It makes me happy. It makes me want to go after that. So yeah, I would definitely suggest taking the time to meditate on that question. Have you answered your deepest calling? What is it? If it's too big to action in one day, what's one small thing that you can start doing now where you feel like, okay, that path is being created. I'm no longer ignoring it. I'm no longer telling myself, yes, it's there, but I've got to do this. No, like, what can I do to put one foot on that path, even if it's small? Haha. And then the next card we have is Share Your Voice. So come out of the cave, persecution and expression. So on a soul level, we may have really felt like we've tried to do this in the past and we've been attacked, we've been shamed. Other people have tried to rip us back into our old role, back into our box, as I like to say. And that is not the energy that is most supportive right now. People are always going to have a problem with you doing something where you step out of line if they're continuously staying in line, because it scares them. Like, they haven't done that. They don't know what to do, or like the answer, or they don't have the information to set themselves on that path. And seeing someone else do it when they're refusing to do it is scary and it triggers them. Don't let other people's opinions beliefs, ideas, fears mess with you sharing your voice and following your call, because this is your life. You only get one. We're eternal, so you can come back here and do it all again if you really want. But if you don't want to do it all again, if you really want to try and embody what you came here to be and what you know you truly can be, give yourself that time to answer the deepest calling, to acknowledge the warrior within, and to give voice to that warrior. Give them a path to express themselves. Stop holding them back and let them come forth in a way that feels empowered, diligent, and purposeful. Don't just, like fling yourself on a path because you think like, oh, I want to do this and now I've got to run and do it. No, take your time. When someone comes out of a cave, they're not generally running. Generally, they're like, checking things out, making their way. So allow yourself to do that, and allow yourself to give yourself permission to really express from a heartfelt place. Okay, I'll stop talking now. So love you guys so much. Your Pisces season readings will be coming out over the next few days. And if you do like them, please do like, share, subscribe, comment. Share this on any social media platforms if you know someone who could benefit from this advice. And as always, guys, please do tip and donate if you found that it resonated for you. I really appreciate it, and it helps me live. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next month.